Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is Zillafan85, and I've got another figure review for you today. This is, of course, my Gashapon Baragon figure. This version of Baragon, this is the 1965 version in particular. Obviously, the Showa era Baragon. Personally, I prefer the Showa era Baragon over the Millennium design, used from GMK, Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. But, mainly though, this is the one, like I said, the 65 design in particular. This is the one from Baragon's first appearance, which was, of course, in the movie from that year, Frankenstein Conquers the World, in which is also known as Frankenstein versus Baragon. Baragon's a monster I love. He's definitely among my favorite kaiju. I've always loved him. Like I said, I specifically love the Showa era Baragon. His only film appearances in the Showa era were from, like I said, Frankenstein Conquers the World, and then of course he was in Destroy All Monsters, but he had very limited use in Destroy All Monsters, though. That, of course, was attributed mainly to suit deterioration and usage, because they used the suit a lot in the Ultraman series for different monsters that appeared in the series. So it the suit had to be altered, and of course it just took on a lot of damage from all of that. So that's why it was a shame he didn't appear more in Destroy All Monsters. They actually had a scene specifically with him attacking Paris in the Arc de Triomphe, burrowing up from underground, but they replaced him with Gorosaurus for said reasons that I just previously mentioned. But they still referred to Gorosaurus as Baragon, which is a little bit weird and confusing. But nonetheless, though, you do see, he's mentioned there, and he was supposed to be seen guarding the Keylok base, but again, they weren't able to use him. They had to make a new head for that film. It's essentially the same, but a little bit altered from the original version. And you see him appear briefly during the climactic battle towards the end on Mount Fuji against King Ghidorah, which he doesn't really take part in, but he does show up at. And then, of course, you see him on Monsterland after all the kaiju are returned home, on Monsterland, Monster Island. At the end of the movie. But again, though, I love him. I love his roar, again, from the Showa era. Like I said, the Millennium version, which, again, appears in GMK, I'm just not too crazy about it. I like that design for Baragon better than, I guess, Mothra and King Ghidorah's designs in the movie, but it's still not one that I'm super crazy about. So, for me, I always prefer the the Showa Baragon. But as many of you may know, I usually prefer the Showa and Heisei Godzilla films in general, so that's just how it goes. Nonetheless, though, again, with the Gashapon figure itself, they do a really, really nice job with this one in particular. Like I said, not every single Gashapon figure is done, to a T perfectly, but a lot of them, they do put a lot of detail in, and I really appreciate it, and I really like these figures for my collection. So as you can see, they did the, with the color scheme to start with the paint job, first of all. So he's got this light brownish coloring all around him on his body, but you've got, they did some paint for the teeth, though. And of course you got the black and white pupils and the eyes, if you can see that. And then of course you got the his signature horn, where it's sort of this creamish / yellowish colored paint that they did for that, and it's the same essentially for the claws on his hands and feet. So pretty basic color design for him. The detailing, though, I think they did a really nice job. You see that they got the ridges all down his back and all along his tail up to the tip of it. So very nicely done there. I really appreciate that. They got the bumps on him here on his arms and legs and whatnot. And then, of course, the scaling on the underbelly, so you can see the bumps and then you can see the scaling there. Really, really nicely done. They put some detailing for the teeth just to kind of not make it too bland looking there. You know, and then of course the ears with that outward, you know, because they're flappy, but he can extend them outwards usually when he's alerted and what have you. So very nicely done. They got some of the spikes protruding from the back of his head and his neck, which kind of go into the ridges along his back. So again, really, really nicely done for detail and adequate for paint. Maybe not perfectly movie accurate, but certainly good enough, though. I think it gets the job done. For articulation, again, a Gashapon figure, so there's really nothing there. You know, so pretty basic there. But again, though, just with the figure itself in general, I think it's really, really nicely done. You know, and it's one that I really enjoy having in my collection, but as you guys may know at this point, I do love my Gashapon figures, and I really enjoy reviewing them. I've definitely got more to go. I was definitely looking forward to reviewing Baragon. Like I said, he's among my favorite kaiju, certainly in my top 10. You know, he's got some cool abilities too. Like I said, he's considered a subterranean dinosaur, and in his original film appearance from Frankenstein Conquers the World, basically this drill factory had awoken him from his slumber because he again was underground and escaped the extinction of the dinosaurs. So he was awoken up by that drill factory and basically started wreaking havoc once he was awoken. But he's got some cool abilities. Like I said, obviously he can burrow underground, he can leap high and far distances, and he's also got a heat ray, which kind of sad to say they only really showcase that in Frankenstein Conquers the World. I wish they would have shown that more, but it's a cool weapon nonetheless, and it's a pretty good fight between him and the Frankenstein monster in that film as well. That's as far as the because that's a non-Godzilla Toho kaiju movie. That's definitely among my favorites of those too. So there's just so much I can say about Baragon. Again, a monster that I really, really love. These figures are pretty common, these Baragon Gashapon figures, so if you want to add one to your collection, you can certainly find them online on eBay and whatnot, and they're not too expensive, so definitely something I very much recommend for, you know, for any fan's collection. So I think that does about take us to the end of this video, folks. I do want to thank you so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.